All right, you dirty dogs, welcome back to The Storm in a Teacup, where Brandon Bergen references collide with other shenanigans from the four of us.
Storm in a Teacup.
He's going to love that. He was just remarking on how long it took us to mention him last time, so he will love that.
Yep, so he was in the intro this time, so that's fantastic. Taylor, I want to let you know that I went backpacking last night, and I got dumped on with 9 inches of snow. I felt like I was in Chicago. How's the weather up there?
We got a little snow yesterday morning, but it's supposed to be in the 50s the rest of the week, so I'm a happy camper. And you have no idea what it's like to be in Chicago. 9 inches is... I get snowed on 9 inches when I go to the bathroom, so...
You get 9 inches every day, don't you?
Taylor, we're not talking about the
sexually,
snow on the
sexually.
counter in the bathroom.
Yeah, no, that is
That
the
was
snow.
a poor joke. I'm sorry.
Forrest is
Poor
not with
taste.
us tonight. He is all the way in Maryville.
What's
Forrest?
the weather like in Maryville?
Yeah.
It's about 35. No snow, unfortunately. I was hoping for a little blizzard of 93 action. Thought I might wake up this morning and get to call out to work, but no. I had to go deal with those teenage assholes all day today, so that kind of sucks.
Has George set any new PRs lately?
He was doing clean pulls at 11 kilograms earlier this week, so we're getting pretty stoked. You know, we're about to put him on the Bella bar.
Yep.
See what happens there.
Yep. Yeah, good things, good things.
Are you teaching George the jump and shrug method or the catapult method? Or
Oh,
something totally different?
Do we need to
Leading question.
Do we need to get into that tonight? And it's a whole episode on its own.
That's true.
I'll-
We'll devote a whole episode.
I
to that.
heard Forrest had Klokov doing some remote coaching for George. That's what I heard. I don't know.
That's the
Nothing
rumor.
can help. Nothing can help that bloodline.
I hate you.
Weak blood. Nature versus nurture, Forrest. Nature always wins.
Always. So let's talk shop. Last weekend, the hassle-free barbell meet was going down. That was the second of the international qualifiers for the American lifters, and I mean, I guess we were at the other one up at the Arnold's. Sadly, it wasn't in the budget for the Storm in a Teacup to fly out to Reno. Wait, where was the hassle-free meet at?
Dang it. I hate
It
you.
was west of the Mississippi. That's all we know.
Indeed.
The West. Much like the East. It was in the West.
Foster City, California.
Foster City almost made it. So we weren't able to take that in, but there were some notable performances, and I know one that Taylor is really loving is Jenny MacArthur. How did your girl Jenny do, Taylor?
Jenny Arthur, not Jenny MacArthur. MacArthur
I like to add that in.
He was a general. Hey, well, we won't get into that. Anyway, she set an American record in the clean and jerk for the under 75 kilo class, 134 kilos, I believe, which is, I mean, that's very legit on a world scale, not just an American scale. Like, that's a very... I look forward to Rio, I mean, because I think she'll be very competitive.
Yeah, I think she has a chance to be very competitive. That I was actually lifting last weekend as well in Johnson City at a meet, and I failed my 120 jerk twice, so she's outlifting me. Granted, she outweighs me, so
I don't know if that's good or bad.
it's bad.
I don't know.
It's all bad.
Yeah.
So
So with that, I believe that obviously makes her for the international team. Courtney Batchelor was another one. Courtney Mick Batchelor, is that right, Taylor?
we are this
Yes.
section of the Storm in a Teacup is
I thought it was,
sponsored by the Ronald McDonald House.
I thought it was Courtney O. Bachelor. Actually,
We're going to be talking about the Mick Snatch and the Mick Clean and Jerk.
So she clean and jerked 105 at the 63 kilo weight class, which is hands down heavier than anything Forrest has ever put overhead.
You know what, Grant? You're a real Mick asshole. That should be said.
But not heavier than what's been in Forrest's ass. Over his head, yes. In his rear, not.
Always with the poop jokes, the butt jokes, Caleb.
You know me, I'm the crap man.
Oh, your poop mouth.
So yes, there were some notable performances at the Hassle Free. Derek Johnson set a new American record in snatch, hit 122, and then he was the first person in I think 2 decades, the first American lifter in a competition to go for a double bodyweight snatch, and he almost made it. Almost made it.
Wow.
So he went for that on his 3rd attempt, so that was pretty huge. Didn't have a lot of success in the clean and jerks, but that was still an amazing performance, no doubt. Let's see, who else? D'Angelo Osario. He snatched 160, yes, and clean and jerked 194.
What did old
196? 196. Clean and jerk 196. So that's pretty freaking awesome too. He's coming back. He's bouncing back from an injury, and so it was good to see him put up some. I think that was a competition PR snatch for him.
Yeah.
So that was really big. I saw that he cleaned 204 from the blocks last week. So he's showing no signs of slowing down.
What did old
Very exciting times.
IW Ian Wilson do?
I don't think he lifted.
Yeah, I don't think so.
Oh, I thought he was out there. My bad.
He just got back to the training center. I saw that this week, so he's getting back
And
at
hit
it.
and hit. Did he hit? What did he hit? A 160, a 150 snatch?
Yeah, he hit a 160 on day one. So
I love in Wilson's style and how he will lift 10 kilos more in a meet than he's ever hit in practice. If you look at his training PRs compared to his lifting PRs, he's just, breaking within, 10 kilos this past week of what I've seen him hit in competition before. So I think that's interesting how it definitely flies in the face of the norm, I would say.
He leaves it all out there, whatever that means.
I would say that's an interesting point though, because I've been talking to one of the coaches here, and she trains with a Russian coach, and they do so much percentage work, and they hang she spends in his training philosophy, they spend so much time at around 80% of your 1 rep max in all the lifts, just so much time in those percentages. And I find it interesting that the American style is to go for those PRs more regularly, I guess. And I wonder what I don't have really any thoughts on that. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there, see what you guys think. Like, what's the benefit of either one? I mean, are some of these American lifters maybe, not as fresh as they could be at these meets when they hit these PRs in training? Thoughts, concerns?
I think if you looked at the volume, regardless if you're doing these heavy singles like it sounds like you think a lot of American lifters are doing, versus
Max out Fridays, bro.
There it is. Versus the percentage based work that is the typical Russian style. I think the volume is still very similar. And I might even skew the volume a little bit to the Russian side. I think they might lift more volume, more tonnage per day and per week.
Right. I think that's the ultimate. I mean, I think that's the point. I think they're going for that, like you said, tonnage. I think they're getting in more overall tonnage. And I just think as far as like progressing, I mean, would that be something that would benefit some of these American lifters or no? I don't know. I just something I think about sometimes when I see these big
when you're laying in bed staring at the ceiling.
When I lay in bed at night and I dream of Ian Wilson. What?
You're wearing your USAW singlet, your onesie.
I have a USAW onesie. What's wrong with that? If Courtney Batchelor can lift in a Wonder Woman singlet, then I can sleep in a USAW snuggie / onesie. Speaking
of tonnage, is that how you measure your plates of food, Taylor? Like it's how much tonnage you're putting in today at this meal?
That's how I measure my poops, tonnage.
Taylor and I measure our life and how many bones we've left behind. Fact.
Yes.
I know you're
a wing reference. Oh.
Got to carry that bone bag around with you.
No bone left behind, Forrest. No bone left behind.
So I'll answer Taylor's question with another question, just because I don't want to answer his.
We're not qualified to answer that question. Go ahead.
Well, there was a lot of noticeable performances at the Hassle Free. There was a lot of noticeable performances at the Arnold. There were a lot of noticeable performances at the American Open. It seems like every time the best American weightlifters come together for one of these bigger meets, new records are being set. Like, I feel like every single time a new American record is multiple American records are being broken. So I think that begs the question, is there something happening within the top American weightlifters that, are they pushing themselves harder? Is this just kind of what we've been waiting for? What do you guys think about that?
Can I dive in and offer a response on Taylor's before getting into yours, real quick?
God, yeah.
Sorry,
sure.
man. You didn't give me time to respond. And
Let's just go back in time for you, Forrest. God.
Well, Caleb is such a master editor. I feel like he can go and just put this back in. And
I don't edit anything. This is all
Forrest,
organic.
just say what you have to say and
tell me
get it over with.
Tell me what you think about my thought. Now, depending on how you want to train, whether it's max out, Russian, whatever, do you think it depends on the lifter's personality and the time that they have? I mean, if they're 22 years old and just getting into it, maybe maxing out gets them those quicker results that they need, whereas maybe following the Russian system, if you're younger and you can buy into the overall game plan that, like, one day this is going to give you the results you want and you are going to be strong as what Caleb would call piss, you can go with that more.
That is the technical term.
Yeah, you can go with that Russian system and kind of know that one day you're going to hit the numbers you want, but maybe you're buying into more of a overall thought than just immediately going and just maxing out every day. I don't know. What's your thoughts on that?
Well, I understand your point. I think though, I don't know. I think back to something that we always used to talk about at K-Town, like when we'd have like bench press day or whatever, and we'd do like 5 sets of 5 bench press on like a Wednesday or a Thursday just to have people lifting some heavy weight. And we'd always coach them and be like, look, what's better to lift, to do 205 for 3 sets of 5 and then only get 2 or 3 reps on those last couple of sets, or go down to 195 and make all 25 reps. And just, I mean, that's sort of a simplistic way of thinking about it for sure. But, you're actually getting more weight lifted by going with a slightly lighter weight. And so I think, I do think the tonnage argument has a valid place regardless of your age, just in the sense of, yeah, those Russian guys did start younger, lifting younger, and they started at these smaller percentages. But, man, they're so far ahead of the young American lifters as far as how much total weight they've lifted over their lifetime and how many reps they've done, and how, like, you look at Klokov and Ilan when they were out of shape for sure when they first started their little seminar tour or whatever, and within like 6 months they're back to world caliber, making world caliber lifts. So just because of the volume and how long they've been lifting and how much tonnage they put in over their lifetime. So I don't know. I think both are valid. I just think maybe it's something that
both are valid.
More American lifters need to look at. Your thoughts, Grant?
I don't know. You just rambled for like 5 minutes, and I just
Caleb,
you zoned out.
Please
That's
edit
fine.
that, Caleb.
What did I start at?
Okay, so I think the Russian system works better for, like you were saying, for lifters that have been lifting for a longer period of time. Their lifting age is much older, because they're able to get a lot of volume and they're much more consistent. Where maybe with American lifter that has lifted weights, air quotes there, middle school, high school, while they're playing another kind of sport. Whenever they shift to focusing upon weightlifting as a sport, they need to hit those heavier singles to be consistent at those weights. But like Grant said, they're probably hitting similar volume compared to their 1 rep max. Obviously, Russian weightlifters are probably going to be hitting more tonnage, if you will, just because they have much higher totals.
Yeah.
I only train the way Grant Scalp tells me to train, so yeah, I don't listen to any stupid Russians.
So what were we talking about before Forrest just like sidetracked us so
Totally
hard?
derailed
Yeah.
us. So this is what we're talking about. We're talking about American weightlifting having a would you call it a reformation?
A renaissance.
A renaissance?
A renaissance.
The lifting renaissance.
Kendrick Martin Luther Ferris has actually spiked a new set of rules on USAW's door. So we'll see what happens.
He nailed it up there for all to see.
I hear he's working on his
Kendrick-
own chapel right now. He's got a painter coming in to paint something nice for him.
If Kendrick is Martin Luther, does that make John North Henry VIII?
Yes.
Yeah.
So obviously, I mean, that's a fact. American records are being set, maybe at a rate that we haven't seen in 5 to 10 years, maybe longer, or at least since the weight classes have been reshifted. Why is that? Is it? I mean, Caleb gave 3 or 4 possible explanations. I like them all. I think it's a combination of them all. Do I remember the combinations that he gave us? No, because Forrest
That doesn't matter.
Forrest asked a silly question, and then Taylor gave a 30-minute answer.
Well, let me rehash.
but-
Is it steroids or not? Let's be honest, Grant.
And I like both options. I think both options are great. No, I think what's interesting is CrossFit has had a huge impact on weightlifting in America, in the United States, and maybe we're having better athletes come to the sport. That could be 1. 2, the athletes that are coming into the sport are pushing the great athletes that are already in the sport to, stay competitive, to keep innovating, keep progressing. I like both of those options. I think both of those are fairly easily ferreted out. Yeah, that's what I'm going to go with.
Do you really think CrossFit is causing this?
So Morgan King, do you like Morgan King?
Yeah,
right,
I mean,
Forrest?
I love Morgan, and Morgan loves me, but we'll talk about that another time.
Tatum.
Yep.
Okay.
Both of those CrossFitters.
So the 2 best athletes in their weight class, the 2 best lifters in those weight classes came from CrossFit and are like infants in the sport. They're less than 3 years both.
Do you want to call Tatum an infant just with his powerlifting background? I mean, I guess
Yes.
specifically
Yeah.
with weightlifting, yeah, but
Yeah, he is. He is an infant.
he has a pretty
Do you want to
strong.
call him an infant with that beard? That's the real
Yeah,
question.
you call him an infant
Absolutely
to his
not.
face and see what happens.
To his bearded face. Nope, not
I
going to do
mean,
it.
have you seen my beard, Forrest?
Yeah,
It's
your
a
beard,
tremendous neck beard.
Your beard is about as thick as my pubes.
I don't even know what that means. I haven't seen your pubes in a while, Forrest, so I don't know if you're going gray bush these days or what.
Hey, Forrest, your favorite athlete, Lauren Fisher, she's a CrossFitter, and she won junior nationals.
I'm Morgan King. Taylor's. Come on, Grant. Know our favorite
That's right.
athletes.
Okay,
Taylor likes Lauren.
so Forrest, let me.
I wasn't saying that
me
Grant is
answer-
just wrong. I was just saying, like,
Okay.
is he really? Don't put me in that
well,
corner.
well,
You won't. Nobody
all
puts
right.
baby in the corner.
I'm gonna say this. I think the spotlight that CrossFit has shined upon the
Shoned.
sport of
Shoned.
weightlifting has shoned the mixed spotlight that CrossFit has shown upon the sport of weightlifting. I think has just given them that much more encouragement or excitement. And I just think there's so much excitement around the sport right now is that I think that's just encouraged those athletes to train harder, work harder, push each other more. And yeah, like Grant said too, the pool of athletes is just getting deeper and deeper. And so I think they kind of know they've got to work a little bit harder.
Yeah, there's a lot of really young good athletes who are interested in weightlifting and are, already training at a high level. Like you look at CJ Cummings as as an example. I mean, they're already training at a really high level, getting close to American records. And, like Jenny Arthur's setting American records. She's like, 19, 20, something like that. So, I mean, there's a lot of young talent coming up, and I think that pool is only going to continue to grow. And I think, to Grant's point, CrossFit, while it hasn't, it's introduced a lot of those young athletes to the Olympic lifts at a younger age than what is normal for the United States, not for other countries, but for the United States. So I think definitely that's made it, probably had a huge impact on getting young lifters involved in weightlifting. So yeah, it's definitely changing for sure.
I think a lot of it, I'll agree with Grant. CrossFit is, we're not going to use the word shoned. I can't say that. Shoned. Shined. Well, I'd rather be wrong and just say shined.
Road.
I think we used shined. Shined.
Shined. All right, we agree. Shined. I think it's just timing. The timing of athletes coming around. I mean, you got people like Ian Wilson who have been training, Jared Fleming who's been training since he was in diapers. It's just we're starting to come around. Now some of our people who have been training since a very young age are starting to mature into better athletes. So, yeah, the talent pool is getting bigger, but I think a lot of it has to do with timing, and it's only going to get better from this point out.
So you're saying our talent is becoming ripe? Is that what you're saying?
It's roped. It's roping.
Ripened.
Ropened. I think that's...
Who's the ripest of our young talent, Forrest, if you
Morgan
could pick
King.
one?
Morgan King is
so ripe.
God, I hope she never hears this podcast. I'm going to get sued. Oh, wait. My wife's a lawyer in your face.
It's going to make her want you even more, Forrest.
Yep.
The forbidden fruit must be now tasted. So, all right, let's forge ahead. I feel like someone's about to make a Brandon Bergen comment.
Yeah, let's forge some elite fitness.
Let's segue away from Brandon into Brandon.
Speaking of elite fitness, Brandon Bergen, this has been the Brandon Bergen Open.
It really has.
Year of the Bergen.
It is the year of the horse and the year of the Bergen. He is somehow sold his soul to Dave Castro or the devil, or one and the same.
Yeah. Is there a difference?
And yeah, every workout has just been right in his wheelhouse. So, Brandon, buddy, I'm rooting for you, man. I hope we got one more to go. It's released tomorrow night, and I hope to see you at regionals in the Southeast, buddy.
I'll give the weekly Brandon Bergen update. He, after 4 of 5 events, for those listening at home that don't know anything about CrossFit, Brandon sits in 37th place in the Southeast region, and they take the top 48. Yep.
What you know about that?
And he rode a PR 5K today at 18 minutes and 13 seconds.
That's right, Dirty South. That's right, Dirty South. He's just getting started. He's PRing everything right now.
Brandon, just in case you listen to this podcast, I want you to remember that in 2010, I rode a 17-something, so sit on it.
The only thing that could ruin Brandon is if the 5th workout is 5-minute AMRAP handstand push-ups. This is the only thing that could take him out of contention.
I would disagree with you on that completely.
It was a
I
joke.
think there's
It was
other
a-
things
it was a
that could be problematic. I mean, I think burpees. If there's burpees in this last workout, thrusters, burpees, like I don't know about those burpees, man. Depending on how the timing and rep scheme is, I think it could be dangerous.
Well, let me tell you.
Yeah, but he'd have to take like 150th place in the workout to drop out. Like law of averages, the further you get into these workouts, the harder it is to kind of change your places. So I think he's all right.
Don't start.
I think
the
we're all going to
stupid
get a plane.
stuff.
We're all going to get a plane ticket down to Jacksonville, and we're going to record, and we're going to just heckle Brandon while he's in the middle of his workouts.
Perfect.
I only want to record in the middle of Brandon Bergen workouts. That's all. That's the only time.
Well, then we'd be perpetually recording.
Oh, that's
I mean,
true. Because he WODs constantly.
24/7 water.
Yeah.
So for those of you listening at home, check out Brandon Bergen
.com.
Southeast. Leave him a few lewd comments on his Facebook page.
The more
Befriend
the
him.
lewdest comment gets a reference on our podcast.
It does. Yeah. I like that. Yeah, leave a very lewd comment on his Facebook page, or message him, or send him a Trojan
Horse, a Trojan horse, or a virus.
Yeah, well, that's the direction I was going.
Just crash his computer with porn. Someone hack him. Take care of that.
So, guys, I think that I'm double checking my sources, but I think BrandonBergen.com is open if we want to buy that.
I was gonna say, did somebody check that?
Lord mercy. Yeah, I'll pitch in on that.
Do you think
It
it's
can't be
not
that
really-
expensive. It can't be that expensive.
It's not really a question of if we want to do it.
Okay, well, before we wrap the recording up tonight, I'll have it purchased.
Do you think if we bought it, we could sell it to him? And if we did, how much would he pay for it?
It's a good question. It depends on how much he wins this year at the games.
It's true.
I heard he's going to
True.
win Event 5 and get $2014, 2014, whatever it is.
That's it.
How much do they-
Okay, so we'll charge him that.
There you go.
So you guys want to talk about something? So here's a perfect example. Taylor, is Brandon Bergen an elite CrossFitter or just a top tier CrossFitter?
You're back. You got it backwards, bro. You got it backwards. He
What
would
does that
be, if he qualifies for regionals, he might be an elite CrossFitter, but he definitely would not be a top tier CrossFitter.
So is your definition of a top tier CrossFitter? You're an elite top tier CrossFitter, or you're a top tier elite CrossFitter?
You can be elite without being top tier, but you cannot be top tier without being elite.
How many people in the world do you consider to be top tier?
All of Asia.
And please don't say percentages. If you say percentages, I'm going to kill you.
The one qualifying thing you have to have is the 225 Isabel. So Asia, obviously,
Right.
so it'd be 2% of the population.
So at least 2%, right? We've established that.
No, yeah, I had a list on my phone, which there it is. So I would say about men and women, probably about 30 or so would be top tier in my mind.
Okay.
And then elite, there's a lot of elite CrossFitters. I mean, there's a lot of those.
Okay. What makes them top tier?
Top tier in my mind would be, I think three factors would be the primary things. One, I want to see like consistent regional dominance. Like at the regional level, you need to be top 2, top 3 year after year, just dominating that scene. Second, top games performer. I think.
Wait. So to be top tier, you need to be a top regionals athlete and a top games performer.
Yeah.
I'm starting to see a trend here.
Hold on. There's a third.
Let's just call it a
there's-
top CrossFitter, maybe.
No. Hold on. Hold on. Hang with
I'm
me.
trying to derail you here, Taylor.
Hang with me. All right. The last thing though, I think is just some gamesmanship, if you will. A gamer, someone who,
Like a video gamer?
Yep, that's exactly what I mean. Someone
Like
who loves
World
to
of Warcraft?
Someone who loves to LAN in basements with you and Brandon and Caleb. That's who.
I was going to say,
you
all
mean LARP.
I hear is Brandon Bergen. This is all I'm hearing out of your mouth right now.
No, you guys definitely know that there are top CrossFitters that make it to the games. They do, they make it. They do all right. And then there are those that stand out not just for their performances and for their personality. Like they have something that makes them special, some indefinable characteristic. Just like in any sport, really. I mean, there are players that stand out because they have that it factor. I mean, what's the difference? I mean, Peyton Manning has won a Super Bowl. Eli Manning has won 2 Super Bowls. Peyton Manning is like a top tier, a name that you think of. Eli Manning, the people, his own fans hate him. So I mean, It's that it factor.
The it factor.
The it factor.
Oh man.
Well, I think you're comparing apples and oranges whenever you get to a position-based.
I agree. I was just using that as an example.
Okay, so I'm gonna ask you to tell me if certain athletes are top tier or not.
Yep.
And this will be a fun game for the listeners at home to play. If you guys want to post to our Facebook, The Storm in a Teacup on Facebook, we'll get Taylor to come back with you. You post a CrossFit name, and then he will let you know if they are top tier or if they are just merely elite.
He is the
I'm the final.
governing
I got
body.
the final say. Yep.
Yeah.
The final. I'm certified.
He attended
Dave
the CrossFit top tier
I did the
certification.
online. It's online course, guys. But you have something to print out, just like the judges course, so you'll be legit.
Okay, so I want to level set. I would assume, based on what you said, like Rich from like all the past games champions are top tier.
Yes.
Okay. Like
But
Katie
yeah, I would
Henniger?
say
Katie Matter Henniger.
yeah.
No.
No.
Yeah. No. I would say. I was just gonna say. I think Kristen Clover might be on the way out.
Okay.
You heard it here first, ladies and gentlemen. Kristen Clever is on the way out.
Big surprise. All right, Chris Spieler.
Not anymore.
Oh God bless.
Forrest, don't get mad. You just like him because he has skinny legs like you.
And he still squats as much as you do. Let's put that into context.
Yeah.
Ouch.
Does he really? What's the squat? What's his PR squat, Forrest?
I don't know. Hey,
Then
Brandon.
how do you know? How
Brandon,
do you
can you
know?
get back to me on that?
Hey, Forrest, hold on. I want Caleb to keep asking Taylor names, but I wanted to so Forrest can qualify his like, oh God bless. Well, Forrest, what do you think in just 50 words or less? What do you think the difference is between a top tier and an elite CrossFitter? Go.
I'm not going to disagree with him that much. I think I'm not going to say consistent games results because sometimes people just don't get through regionals. You only take 3 athletes, and that's a very small percentage. So
This is
I mean,
all
maybe
about.
It's
This is all about Nate
stats.
Schrader. It's about
No.
Nate Schrader. That's what you're mad about.
No, I mean if you don't consider Chris Spieler elite, then I would say it's about Spieler as well.
Dude, I did not say Chris Spieler was not elite. I just
You said
said
he
he's
was
not
on
in
his
that
way
top
out.
tier.
I
I said Kristen Clever was on her way out. Play it back for him, Caleb.
Read the manuscript, Forrest. Come on.
Where's our stenographer to read it
Okay,
back?
okay.
Okay,
so
I have.
Forrest isn't
okay,
going to
here-
give any metrics.
No, here's the thing though. I've got Chris Spieler. I don't know how recent this games.crossfit profile is, but his back squat is 380. So he is triple body weight. Or no, I'm sorry. How much does he weigh? 75 pounds. Sorry. He's 380.
75
So
kilos, 75
you,
kilos.
You do the math on that. I mean, that's ridiculous.
That's
He's over double
amazing.
body weight.
That's amazing, and that's elite for sure. But if you're not, at the end of the day, results is results, man.
He
Rules
was
is rules,
fourth.
Results is results.
He was in third going into the last workout. He's been at the games more
Yeah,
than
and he
about anybody in the
lost.
face. So what? Then Peyton Manning is not elite. He's been to the Super Bowl and lost. He's been to the AFC Championship and lost and lost and lost. I mean,
The
like
49ers
seriously-
defense is not elite then, man. You lost the NFC
Oh,
Championship.
man.
Got
Oh,
smoked.
It's getting off
Yeah.
track. Hold
Oh,
on. Hold
gosh.
on.
Throwing stones.
you can't
on.
you can't track just results. At some point you have to look at the stats.
I didn't
and say, but that's what you're kind of saying. Like
But
if you're
but
if you're looking at
if you're gonna
games-
make if you're gonna make that argument, then we might as well have weight classes for CrossFit then, because
No.
he's
you
got a
have to
great
put-
he's got a great back squat. Let's just make crown Sam Dancer games champion right now.
No, because then we got to look at other things like how is he done in competitions? How is he? What are his?
That's what I
workout
just
times?
said. That's the
But
point I'm
it
making.
has to
Okay.
be
I just
an
said, how's he
overall
doing in
look.
competition?
You can't just say
All right, you
results.
two.
Yeah, but that's all
You guys are both bringing your C game tonight.
Okay, stop it. Both of you stop it. Here's what we need. We need to hear more names from Caleb and let Taylor put them in their categories. Let's hear it from Sibo.
Agreed. I had this in my back pocket and I was gonna wait, but I'm just gonna go ahead and say Nate Schrader.
No, he's not top tier. He's elite for sure. Not top tier.
So, if you go to the games consistently and place top 15 2 years in a row, and then you don't make regionals by you don't make it to the games by one spot.
Yeah, you need to have that focus. You need to not choke like that at regionals. Come on, man.
So,
Regionals
okay,
is in the
but
games.
once again, that's in the same position that Spieler was in. But, I mean, once again, you have to look at their workouts. Like, you're going to tell somebody that they got a 228 Fran, a sub-7 Helen, a 104 Grace, and then they can
there's
back
a
squat.
lot of there's a lot of people at regionals with crazy numbers like that. But that's what I'm saying. You got to have that game day killer instinct, man. Like Spieler lost it a little bit last year. He didn't he bulked up a little bit. That last workout he had to beat that one dude to get back to the games. And did it happen? No, the other guy had the killer instinct. Eye of the tiger, man. Eye of the tiger.
No.
So that's what it takes. The difference between
wholeheartedly
top tier
disagree.
and elite is eye of the tiger.
Oh, I can't disagree more because how can you say it's just one workout? Like, okay, man, yeah, Spiel got beat on one workout. I mean, how many other workouts did he beat the guy who took third? I mean, you can't just say like, oh my gosh, if he really wants this, he's going to win this. You can only do so much. The human body can only do so much. Do you remember what
and the guy who got third, his body did more than Spieler's body did.
Do you remember what that last workout was? Do you remember what that last workout was? The rope climb clean? It got pretty heavy. And to say that someone who is 40 pounds heavier than Spieler is not going to probably be more successful in him than a workout like that is
but
it's a little ridiculous.
Yeah, but it's the whole regionals workout. There was also a hundreds workout that was just all body weight movements. Do you think Spieler had an advantage over the bigger guy on that workout? Because the answer is yes.
I don't know. In the hundreds, didn't you have to do wall balls? How tall was the athlete he was going against? There's other factors I would look at in a workout like that.
They're all like 5'6". Let's just go ahead and say it. They're all 5'6".
So
Nate Schrader is
okay,
not
okay.
5'6".
All right. So the whole reason that we had started this conversation, it's just gotten wild. We're gonna start going into different body metrics and workout stats of just two athletes now because of this. But the whole reason we were having this conversation is we wanted to talk about the new craze right now in the sport of exercising, the sport of fitness.
It's sweeping the nation.
It is sweeping.
All the kids are doing it.
And that is the National Pro Fitness League. Caleb, do you want to have a few words about the National Pro Fitness League in case anyone at home doesn't know what we're talking about?
Sure. So Tony Budding, who is kind of the right-hand man of Coach Glassman, who started CrossFit, left CrossFit HQ back in
November.
late 2013. So November. And he is kind of separated himself from CrossFit and started the National Pro Fitness League. And rather than be concentrated on individual performances, it's all about teams. It's going to be ran very similarly to say the NFL or something like that. And so the interesting thing about this is that these will be broadcasted events, 2 hours. I think for every 2 hours, there's going to be 11 different team events. And there's a lot of things about this where they're going to be able to flex some really interesting creative muscles here, as well as, some real muscles as well. So, wow. So they're allowing coaches to substitute in and out athletes as they please, however they want to. I think they're going to be given about a week to see what the events will be, and then coaches can plan accordingly. And so a few of the things that I like about this is that you're gonna be allowed to see kind of coaches display their game day thinking rather than just the athletes, because previously, coaches are doing a lot of the work behind the scenes, but now they're able to think on their feet and have a really dramatic impact on the outcome of their athletes' performance. So it'll be interesting to see. They've released a few sample workouts on their YouTube page, and it's definitely, I would say, over the last week specifically, maybe even 2 weeks, it's really taken off just because you're starting to see some elite athletes, maybe not top tier according to Taylor, but
Valenzuela signed.
Valenzuela did sign to the LA team, who is coached by the Dogtown CrossFit, Dusty Highland. And yeah, so we're seeing some really, really great athletes sign to these different teams. Right now there are 5 teams, and I think they're looking to sign maybe 2 or 3 more for the first season, which will be abbreviated starting right after the games are finished. So yeah, it'll be really interesting to see how this pans out. What are you guys' thoughts on it?
I'm excited. I'm really excited about it. I think that the team aspect and the kind of coaching decisions that are going to be made with substituting on the fly and knowing the workouts ahead of time, I think it's going to be a really neat way to put the coaching prowess on display. And I guess since I am definitely not a CrossFit athlete anymore, I'm just washed up and old and decrepit, I see it more from a coaching standpoint. So I'm really excited about that prospect and that aspect of the Pro Fitness League.
Are we going to be able to launch the Air Scalves loafers for kids who want to coach? Like, is this coaches become more out there in the front? Is that where we're going with this?
I'm so glad that no one listens to our podcast because that's supposed to be kept under wraps. I'm still developing those loafers.
Do they have the U-form technology where your foot just molds to your foot like in the first nanos?
Yep, you put it in the oven and heat it up, and then you put it on your foot, and there you go.
So
you're coaching.
You're gonna pitch this idea to Reebok and not Innovate?
Whoa.
I don't know.
We can neither confirm nor deny sponsorship of this podcast for us.
Okay.
That's our stance.
Just checking.
But really, I'm super, super, super excited about this. I think it's a much better format to make it interesting to watch because, I mean, even us, I can get really bored watching CrossFit over and over if it's that single modality kind of thing. But whenever you're able to sub in and out these athletes, and from what I understand, there's going to be a start line and a finish line, and you can kind of get up from your seat, you can go somewhere else, come back, and then you'll see as soon as you come back who's in the lead. So that'll be fun to watch. I think this is going to push the sport of competitive exercising or CrossFit. They're not going to be able to call it CrossFit, but just by creating a much higher level of visibility and excitement. And I think it allows coaches.
It's the professionalization of the sport, the official professionalization of the sport. I mean, it's in reality, there's already professional exercisers out there, a lot of them probably, with sponsorships and everything else. But this is the first official you are a professional athlete, you are signed to a team, and I think it's just something that it's easier for the average person who's not super involved in CrossFit to understand and relate to, just like a baseball team or a football team. They say, oh, this athlete signed to this team. I can understand. It's something that's more relatable.
Yeah, and I like from an income standpoint, I like how they have made this. Whenever you sign to a team, you get a minimum just for signing. I think that whenever you dress, air quotes, for a match, you get a bare minimum of $2,500 for each match played, and you can dress only 8 athletes, 4 men, 4 women, and 1 of each gender has to be over the age of 40. So that's a little interesting twist there. But if you think about all other professional sports, they're not just paying the top 4 to 6 in the sport a good salary. They're even so, while everyone might not be top tier as according to Taylor Layman, there's a lot of elite CrossFit.
I'm the only one that matters,
athletes.
though. I'm the only one that matters.
Well,
I'm
that's
the official
true.
guy.
But there's a lot of elite CrossFit athletes out there that have a lot to bring to the game. They might not be as well-rounded as Rich Froning, but they can go head-to-head with him on certain events. And if their coach knows that strength, you're going to see some specialists start to arise. I'm sure every team is going to have the generalists that are very good at everything, but at the same time, you're going to have your body weight guy. You're going to have your beast that's going to be able to get out there and thruster over 300 pounds. So the ability for a coach to run these teams and know the the workouts a week out going in. There's going to be so much strategy and planning that it's going to change the game completely. And so this is a sustainable business model that's going to allow the sport's best to make a living being an athlete for the first time, rather than just scraping by or owning a gym and trying to coach full time and run a business as well. So I think that's how, I think just from a business model standpoint, this is going to allow the sport to grow and really take it to the next level.
I will repeat exactly what you were saying, dude. The strategy. That's what's going to be awesome about this, because this reminds me so much of what Taylor and I used to love, the Again Faster versus Rogue Challenge. That was just a really cool competition. And to see...
Why do you bring that up every episode?
Because it was what's wrong with bringing that up? Are you
There's so
jealous
much
'cause you can't do
nostalgia.
it?
Like, I feel like you tear up every time you bring it up.
Because I think about it all the time.
That's when Forrest and I first bonded, guys.
Yeah.
That's how our friendship was formed.
Exactly. We used to text at least 500 times to it every day. But, I mean, I think back to that competition and, like, when Spiel went against Barber, and I was like, oh, Spiel's about to crush him on this. And you got the Manimal diving into barbells to win or tie Spieler.
And then touch and go rope climbs, bro. 3 of them.
But yeah, I mean, it was a really cool competition. I think maybe that might have just spurred this idea from Budding a little bit. So I think that's what's going to be
I think
really
we
cool.
inspired Tony Budding with our comments about Again Faster. I'm sure he listens to this. So.
I'm sure that he probably actually has some NSA contacts who saw our text messages just lighting up the airwaves that day, and it got back to him. So yeah,
You're welcome, Budding.
yeah. Give me my
but-
10%.
and it's going to be so a couple things that one thing that both of you touched on is the strategy aspect, and you know, I've heard some people make some analogies to like the closer in baseball who's not going to be able to pitch. How many innings did they play? They play 7 or 11 innings, whatever.
God,
however
I hate
innings
you
there
so
are
much.
in baseball. You know, the closer will come in and just take care of business. You've got like your lefty that can throw 95 miles an hour and no one can hit him. So I think the average fan might not notice this, but someone who understands the sport of CrossFit that's watching these events, you're going to have, you know, Forrest Long come in for the 135 snatch for reps workout, and people are going to be chanting his name because they know, like, they're hitting their buddy who's drinking a beer, and they're like, "Here goes Forrest, he's going to kill the snatches, man. This is going to be so
This is his
awesome."
thing. This is his thing. This is what he does.
People are.
They're going to have fat heads of Forrest Long.
People are wearing T-shirts with like Forrest holding George, like Simba in the Lion King or something. I don't know. That'd be awesome.
I'm so mad at you because you just alienated our one baseball listener, Jeff Salerno. So I mean, like,
It's 9 innings,
innings.
Grant. It's 9
God.
innings.
Kill yourself. How many quarters do you play in soccer, Grant?
Forrest, that you think I was serious about that is about as pitiful as you thinking I was serious about owning an Alico bar today.
Which
I
is
don't
a
know
good
what you
point.
own.
Alico is the sponsor of the National Pro Fitness League, which is interesting.
I think a lot of people kind of question the validity of this whenever it first came out. Taylor Layman being one of them, but as we've seen,
what did I say?
You said there have yet to be any legitimate athletes sign up. This was like 3 weeks ago.
I said no top tier CrossFitters had signed. I just said that was interesting. I didn't say that meant the league wasn't legit.
Caleb.
Taylor, this is good for drama. Let it go.
Yeah, come on, baby.
And P.S. Caleb, that was like 2 hours ago when Taylor said that.
Yeah, it really was. But
I'm a
I mean,
huge ass. That's what I am. I'm the ass who just questions everything.
I can't wait until he bumps into Nate Schrader in a dark alley one night, and he's like, "You don't think I'm elite, bro? I'm not top tier."
What dark alley am I going to be meeting Nate Schrader in?
Chicago has so many dark
alleys.
alleys.
And I stay out of them, man. There's crime up here, man. It's
You
not
work
safe.
the
This isn't Maryville.
door at every bar in Chicago.
Okay, so let's talk about
You
this.
know
I like this aspect.
Ignorance.
The combine and the draft aspect. I believe there are going to be 4 combines around the country, and I think this is kind of a free for all, come as you will sort of deal. And I think there's a chance for a lot of athletes that, you know, once again aren't at Taylor's top tier level. you're going to find these athletes coming out of the woodwork and going and just, maybe not crushing every aspect of the combine, but maybe they're going to get picked up in the draft by that smart coach that's like, here's a specialist that can do, 80 butterfly pull-ups in a set. We can use that. Let's grab them.
Brandon Bergen.
So, yeah, there you go. Bergen, deadlifts and pull-ups. Pick them up now.
Box jumps.
And the interesting thing about the combine is that different from like the NFL combine is you don't have to do any events that you don't want to do. You
in the NFL combine, they can skip. They don't have to do all the events.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, they often skip a lot, especially like quarterbacks and stuff.
Okay, well that makes sense.
They'll come and only do the like skills and drills or whatever, and they won't run the 40 and all that. They'll do that at the school's pro day or whatever if they want to.
Okay.
Yeah,
So similar to that, they've got all these different 1RMs. They've got like, the gymnastic movements, max reps in 90 seconds and all sorts of stuff like that. Handstand walking. So some different skill movements as well as strength. And they've got a couple of like different metcons that they're going to put them through. And so they've got, the way I understand it is there's going to be kind of a really big combine with 200 plus athletes the first day of the combine. And then there's going to be an athlete dinner that night where coaches and managers of these different teams can go up to the athletes and say, "Hey, I really liked what I saw today. You don't need to come back tomorrow. If you want to sign, let's sign right now." But if they're kind of interested to see what else they can bring to the table, then there's next day there'll be like sample team events of some sorts. Kind of like an Amanda-ish type workout, a rope climb workout. So there's going to be 2 days of the combine, and then at the end of the next day, they'll have another chance to sign it. And from what I understand, each team is only allowed to sign 8 athletes before the combine. But there's all these different combines in these different cities, and so even though these teams are geographically located in one spot, they're going to have a representation, someone that represents that team at each one of these combines, picking up athletes all across the nation.
A scout.
Well, here's an interesting question too. That something I've thought about. Like, are these athletes, and for a lot of these athletes, like, they're probably they're elite athletes anyway. They're probably like
you almost
around.
said top tier.
I almost did.
You almost said top tier.
I almost did. But they. They're traveling around, like, training with different people and stuff like that. But for some of them, especially these more specialist people, like, are they going to have to, are they going to move to these cities? Like, I get signed by the Phoenix, whatever, and am I moving to Phoenix? Like, do you think that'll be an issue, or do you think do you think they'll be able to remote coach these people? Like,
No.
how do you think that's going to work out? That's just something I was thinking about.
Depends on your purpose.
I'd say initially, I don't think these teams will. In order to own a team, you had to provide NPFL and Tony Budding a strong financial backing and a track record of being able to a financial background of other endeavors that are kind of startups like this. And so I don't think that these teams will, if they do make a lot of money. The first year, it's going to be kind of padding the bank and making sure the NPFL gets its bearings right. And then I would say as these teams continue to develop and the league continues to gain traction, I think at that point you're going to see most of the athletes probably reside in one central area, or at least for a time period throughout the season. But I don't know. It's a great question.
They'll probably, I think training camps, for sure they have to do that. The team aspect is the thing that makes me curious, just because anyone who's trained with or been on a CrossFit team, like, you have to train together, even if it's a local
competition, for sure,
you train together probably 4 or 5 times just to get your get a feel for what everyone else is going to do. And if you're going to regionals or something like that, you have to train together all the time. So that's just one thing that I've been thinking about. Like, for example, I was looking at a list of like who was invited to some of the combines, and like for the one there's a combine I think in Philadelphia or something like that, and there was
Yeah.
or New York, I can't remember which one, and
Both.
combines in both. So, but they had athletes. They were inviting athletes from, Virginia and Canada East, and like Michelle Letendre was invited, and so they're inviting athletes from all over. So, I'm just wondering how that's all going to play out, because you can only do so much remotely, especially when it's a team, and you need to have that team dynamic, and everyone needs to have that feel for each other, and how someone's going to respond to in different situations and all that sort of thing. So, I don't know. There's something I was throwing out there.
Yeah, chemistry will definitely come into play here, but I think where in regionals it's one thing, and it's less about what in the middle of the workout. It's more chemistry. Now it's going to be, I think, equal parts chemistry, being able to read each other, and then also
Coaching decisions. Coaching decisions are going to play a bigger role for sure.
Right. And I mean, who knows how creative they're going to get with these workouts. I would expect them to be pretty innovative here, especially as they're no doubt trying to separate themselves from the CrossFit Games. So I think that this will be great to try and push the CrossFit Games to be more innovative as well. So
That's exactly what I was thinking. From just a competition aspect between the Pro Fitness League and the CrossFit Games, I think this means nothing but good things for both of them. I think both of them will force each other to innovate and grow, try some new things. So yeah, I really like the thought of that. Also, I just want to say this, and I wonder what your all's thoughts are, but there's a lot of CrossFit HQ that doesn't sit well in my gut. But I really like Tony Budding, and I think he does a good job, and I'm really excited that he's the one behind the NPFL.
I think that you're completely right. I think, and we've discussed this before, but HQ has left, they've burned a few bridges along the way, and they no doubt have a few while they have such a strong core of, champions for CrossFit, there are a lot of people that have kind of distanced themselves because of the bad taste that's in their mouth about CrossFit HQ. So yeah, I think
not to say they haven't done some good things though, because they have done.
Oh
some
yeah,
good things,
yeah, absolutely,
sure.
Yeah, absolutely. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see how some of the CrossFit trolls come out of the woodwork to maybe support the NPFL like they have not done for CrossFit HQ. So.
Maybe Forrest Long will throw his support behind the NPFL.
I would. I don't think Budding's ever done. A lot of people at HQ put themselves in dramatic situations that there's really no reason for them to be in. Budding, I think, did a good job of sort of staying away from that. So I have no problem with Budding and would agree 100% with Grant. The one question I would ask you guys as well, do you think that the money that, this is good money for somebody who maybe didn't graduate from college, maybe didn't graduate from high school, but they just
the riffraff off the streets. This is a good option for them.
No, I'm saying,
are you
these
homeless?
People,
the NPFL is an option.
These people who just basically work out for a living now, do you think, would Rich Froning look at one of these contracts and say, money's money, whatever, this is what I do? Do you think they're going to be able to get those top-tier athletes like a Graham Holmberger, a Jason Khalipa? Do you think they're going to look at that and say, yes, this is something I want to do?
I think you have to separate Rich Froning out from all the rest of the CrossFitters as far as the amount of sponsorships and money, because that dude's making money that nobody else is. So I think you have to take him out of the equation.
Let me use this example. Let me throw this out there. How about a Camille?
Absolutely. I think you can get a Camille.
Yeah. Lindsay Valenzuela got second place at the games last year, and she is on the LA Reign team.
She's not top tier, though.
She's not.
She's definitely top tier. Definitely.
So, Forrest, I don't think it just comes down to money, too. I think this would be so much fun. It's completely different competition atmosphere than what Rich has done individually. He was even talking about getting burned out on being an individual athlete and having to work his freaking arse off all the time.
Ding, ding, ding. And that's why I brought up Rich, because of that comment.
Yeah, so I think you're lying.
No.
But anyway.
No, that's exactly what I was going to say. But the reason I chose Camille also was because Camille has a pretty big sponsorship with BSN and some other things. I'm just trying to
I don't think
and
there's
Booty Shorts Inc.
I'm trying to separate some of these people who maybe own their own gyms. Like even an OPT. OPT is not just a CrossFit. He's a gym owner. He's got his programming. He's got seminars. I'm trying to separate these people.
He's
who
a
are
guru.
in-
He's a
yeah,
guru.
I'm trying to separate the people who kind of just do CrossFit, maybe own a gym, versus the people whose entire like living is based. Like who is Rich
Right.
Froning without CrossFit? Is he getting Advocare, BSN as a sponsor? No. So how much are these people who are really ingrained into the big CF mentality? Like, how are they going to
I understand. I think that right now, I don't think that it will have any limitations to getting the best athletes out there. I think this could definitely be something that Rich would do, because think about it. I mean, you're probably not going to do a lot of practicing. It's going to be more consulting with your coach and maybe skilling a few different movements and knowing your role within the workouts. And then you're going to go do a 2-hour competition on Saturday. Like, that's not going to throw your training that far off. So, I mean, I think it's...
And the season, starting in August, it's kind of an off-ish season for those high-level athletes. I mean, they've just finished the games. They're going to kind of lay low. So, you can also look at it from the aspect that they're not going to have to train really hard for it. So it falls. I mean, I think they're smart with where they're positioning it time of year-wise.
Oh, for sure. It's piggybacking off, like, I mean, everyone's kind of foaming at the mouth whenever the games... after the CrossFit Games are over, and then everyone,
they want more.
Yeah, and they probably go to the CrossFit Games site like 50 times a day, and there's effing nothing there. It's like a barren wasteland of CrossFit Games media for like 5 months until the Open starts rolling around again. So I mean, there's definitely some white space opportunity there, and I think Tony definitely took that into consideration. So that was wise.
I do want to say to the listeners, I think we probably have 12 or 13 of them now. But this past week, we've had a few of them leave some comments on our Facebook. We've had a couple of them leave some comments on YouTube. A few of them have given us some ideas on what to record on in the weeks to come. And I just want to say I love that, and I would love to hear more from everyone out there. So swing by our Facebook page, The Storm in a Teacup, and our YouTube page, and give a shout out to us. Let us know if there's something you want us to talk about, and you can feel free to ask Taylor Layman if your favorite CrossFitter is top tier or merely elite.
And make sure you tag Forrest in those comments too, because he'll want to chime in, I'm sure.
Yes. Okay, so I guess on that note, we can wrap it up.
Forrest.
Wrap us up, Forrest.